What's up, Wasp fans? I'm Andrew Davis, your host of Buzz Time. We're going to jump right into baseball season, softball, and talk a little bit about tennis. And with our last segment, we're going to talk about our Final Four predictions for this NCAA basketball tournament. So guys, this is Buzz Time. I'm Andrew Davis here with Riley Pudney and Caleb Simpson and Andrew McClung. These are your panelists. We're going to talk about first baseball season. Spring season is upon us now with basketball season having ended. So let's jump right into the baseball season first. And let's talk about the beginning. They came right into it and started with the Covenant Classic going to Lookout Mountain, Georgia. And let's talk about their process up until this point in time.
Well, I mean, they've had some pretty good success after starting the season 0-6. They really struggled against Covenant. Almost took a game there, but just had the pitching really just didn't help them much there toward the end. Then against Berry College, they played the next series against Berry College, had just defeated the defending World Series champions of Division III, Trinity College. So they swept the Wasps, but the Wasps were also almost able to take 2 games in that series. So that's really good to see when you can almost beat the team that just beat the defending champions. And then this past weekend against Alfred State, wow, what a series it was for the Wasps. They brought out their brooms instead of spring cleaning time and swept the Pioneers.
Yeah, that was big time. And I think the story of the season so far has been that young pitching. A lot of freshman pitchers are going out there, and they're doing a good job throwing the ball, especially Ethan Cave. He's been working really hard. Alex Laws also has thrown some pretty quality innings. So that seems that's going to be the story of the season. We're going to continue to see how the young pitching continues to play out. And not just the freshman, but sophomore Gavin Felty, perhaps the ace of the staff back this year. He pitched a very good weekend series against Alfred State as well.
Absolutely. And Andrew, you and I talked about Gavin Felty. You came to me and you were like, Gavin Felty almost throwing a no-hitter. Talk about that, man.
Yeah, I was on the broadcast for the game. Gavin, he just came off an injury, so this was only his second appearance of the year, his first appearance. It was subliminal. It's not what you would usually expect from Gavin. Last year he went 5-1, had the lowest ERA on the team. I mean, Gavin's the type of guy you send out there every single day, and you're looking for the win when he's on the mound. And through 4 innings, I'm like, oh, he hasn't given up a hit. I'm like, this is starting to feel weird. I've never broadcasted or even really seen a no-hitter. I've only seen one no-hitter in my entire life. There's a saying that says you have a better chance of winning the lottery than you do of seeing a no-hitter or a perfect game. And going into the final inning of play, he still had not given up a hit, but their best hitter for Alfred State came up to the plate and just roped a line drive up the middle, and there's nothing you can do about that. So he exited the game, but the Wasps were still able to get the win. So I mean, he's just had outstanding pitching that day, and it's really good to see that after the injury he suffered in the offseason.
Absolutely, and just baseball in general. Talk about Coach McCall, Cusco, Schaffner. I was able to interview Coach Cusco, and we were just talking about just the guys. And Cusco specifically said having 42 players on that team at a D3 level goes to show you what Coach McCall, what this program means to them, and it attests to what Coach McCall is doing with this program. And just with that coaching staff and the passion, Coach McCall described Coach Cusco as he's just jovial. He brings that energy. And when I asked, Coach Cusco, what do you think your role is? He said, whatever needs doing. And with that kind of attitude, it's going to be interesting to see from coaching trickling down to the players. It'll be interesting to see how that carries over into the games to come. And so, in talking about baseball, we're going to see success, I know, from them coming up this season. And now jumping into softball, we have Riley with us today. Yeah. And if you could just kind of give us a recap of the beginning of your season until now.
Well, just kind of like baseball, we got to a slow start. Down in Piedmont, we played some really great teams. Our coach is trying to give us a tougher schedule in our earlier seasons. And we got to a slow start, got our first win that weekend too against Greensboro. And we left that weekend very hungry. We didn't feel like we accomplished what we needed to do. So we spent the next week and a half just really practicing and focusing on finishing games. And that's one of our main team goals this year, is just to finish out every inning and every game. And since then, we've been rolling, and we are now on a 5-game winning streak. This is the most talented team I've ever played on. And just like baseball, we were talking, we have a very young pitching staff, and they have been the rock for us, and I'm really excited to see where we go, and we have a lot of great things to accomplish.
Can you describe the day in and day out of what y'all do on the field?
Yeah, absolutely. So a typical day is just we get our workouts in 6:30 in the morning, and then we have practice at 3:30, and we do a lot of live stuff. We see a lot of live pitching, and we do defensive work. Just staying like toning in our skills and just staying on top of everything. We do inter squads and a lot of inter team challenges to keep us competitive and just having a lot of fun. And practice feels like games for us because we want to practice with the same intensity we play with. So it's been real fun, and we have our last practice before spring break today, so I'm really excited about it. So yeah, it should be fun.
What can you talk about? You talk about that young pitching staff, but they've been outstanding. Honestly, you could probably say these are two of the best pitchers in the ODAC right now with Emily Kendrick and Tiffany Cole.
Absolutely.
But Emily Kendrick, what a star she has been this season. I mean, already up there in wins already. And y'all have 5 pitchers on the staff, but, I mean, those 2 have only been the ones to pitch this year. What can you talk about reflecting on Coach Forrester and Coach Morrissey, just how good they've been pitching?
Well, from a player perspective, those 2 are the ones that we want in the circle. They've been absolutely dominating. Like Emily last week only pitched like 2 balls up into the 5th inning, and Tiffany is just killing it. And I think it's a reflection of Coach Forrester and Coach Nay, and bringing in KP and helping them pitch with KP and everything. And we've put a lot of focus on pitching and having a defense that backs our pitchers this year. Because these are, like you said, 2 of the most talented pitchers I think the ODAC has seen and that we have been privileged to have. So,
does that give you all confidence in the lineup to just get run support and just know that you're only going to have to squeak a couple across, and it may be enough to get a win with those 2 on the mound?
Oh, definitely. Being in the infield and in the outfield with Emily and Tiffany in the circle, there's definitely a sense of confidence and just a sense that if you let us get ahead, we're going to pull off the win because our pitchers and defense are just like dominating everything.
And also, can you talk about the freshman hitting so far from Courtney Herron and Caitlin Yates? Caitlin Yates went yard twice over this past weekend.
She did. Our freshmen in the lineup, hitting and defense-wise, have just been. They don't play like freshmen. They didn't come in nervous. They didn't come in intimidated. They came in ready to get business done. And like you said, Caitlin hit her first bomb, and it was beautiful. Like I can't even think about it without smiling. Courtney's absolutely killing it. Tiffany, Alex, Lindsay, they've all been stepping up and playing at a higher level than I've ever seen.
I think that's spring sports are looking good this year, and it brings me joy just to know that Emory and Henry athletics in general is on the rise. And now we're going to jump into tennis. And Andrew McClung, this is your forte, so give us that recap and just your thoughts on the season so far.
I mean, it's my forte, but it's about to come your forte with tennis class with Coach Dickens. I mean, so far the women's tennis team, they lost the Player of the Year last year in the ODAC, Saveva Maserati. She transferred to the University of Houston now, where she's playing Division I tennis. So that was a big loss for the team. But they also brought in Liz Graham on the women's side, so that was big. She came from Converse College, a Division II school. So having her really helped fill in that spot. But they have that senior leadership this year from Lauren Reiner. I believe that they have a total of 4 or 5 seniors in the lineup this year. So that will be a big factor. And then also they return Vanna Summers, who was an all-ODAC player last year, and then Katie Mead. Katie Mead and Katie Sheaves, so the 2 double players, roommates, same sorority, everything. Everybody jokes around that they're double trouble because in doubles, I think this year they've not lost a game yet. They've won every single one 8-0, other than to Washington and Lee. But, I mean, you can't say enough on what the coaching from the coach Steve Brooks has been so far for this team. When Coach G left, he stepped in and really stepped up this program. I mean, they went to the semifinals last year for the first time, and I think in forever. Then on the men's side, too, I mean, John Dalton Ferguson, he's been on a tear of lately. He's won his last 3 singles matches. He beat Milligan, he beat Ohio Northern, and he beat, I can't quite remember who the other school was, but he's just been on a tear lately. And with the spring break trip coming up, we play Covenant, LaGrange, and Greensboro. I don't see why he couldn't win these next 3 matches and win 6 straight. And I definitely think he could possibly win ODAC Player of the Week if he does that.
It's definitely big time, Andrew. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about like maybe the goals for the men's team this year?
I think it's just to compete in every single match. Last year it was really tough. Didn't have that many people on the roster, so we didn't really win that many matches. But this year we've lost our past 3 matches like 7-2, and it may look like a bad score, but I mean last year we were losing matches 9-0, and then I think against Milligan there was like 2 or 3 matches where it could have gone either way, like it went to tiebreakers, so that easily could have been a 5-4 score. And that's just a thing that we've been able to do this year, is just keep the ball in play, because eventually your opponent's going to make an unforced error if you just keep it in. Doesn't matter if you try to hit a winner or anything, just keep it in play.
You know, I witnessed you guys practice about a week and a half ago, and like it just looks like y'all have fun as well. And so, and just with that aspect of it, with what Coach Brooks is doing, like wanting y'all to win, having fun with it, what do you think the keys are, the ODAC opponents that you are going to be? It's going to be a tough matchup, but you know that if you can conquer these teams, you can make a big statement in the ODAC this year.
I do, and I think it just always comes down to team chemistry. You mentioned like we have fun. I mean, that's because we all love each other, like just love being together at practice. We just have a fun time every single day, and we always go on like we can win every single match. That's the thing you have to go into every single game, any sport. You can win this match.
Absolutely. I mean, and I know you have a lot of, I think, sleepers on the tennis team who can really step up when the time is necessary. And so now with sports, with like I said, our winter sports season is over. Basketball, men's and women's, has come to an end. But the Final Four NCAA tourney is right around the corner. So we're going to talk about our picks for the Final Four. And McClung, you can go ahead and start, man.
Well, my big prediction, and this is a statement I'm going to live by. Well, first off, the ACC is definitely going to have 10 teams in the NCAA tournament this year. I mean, they're the best conference in every single sport right now, no doubt about it. So I think that North Carolina will be one team in the Final Four, and then I think Louisville will be the other team in the Final Four from the ACC. Everybody thinks about Gonzaga making it in, but there's been a projection so far that Virginia Tech will be on their side of the bracket, and they will play them the round of 32. And I just think, I'm a Virginia Tech fan. They're not making the Final Four this year, but I definitely see them, if they play Gonzaga, beating Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga doesn't make it past the round of 32 this year. That's my bold statement to make. But then I got Maryland, Big Ten team that used to be the ACC, and then I've got Kentucky.
All right. Yeah, I can respect those picks. We'll see about that potential Gonzaga-Virginia Tech matchup. I think it's a little gutsy, but the Virginia Tech did prevail over my Blue Devils, and unfortunately, I don't see them getting to the Final Four this year. But I think my dark horse team to watch for the tournament is going to be Butler. They beat Villanova twice this year already, and they're just always a well-coached team. They always bring it every single day, and they've been known for making some tournament runs themselves. So I think Butler will be one of them. If we'll have to see how the bracket ends up working out, but if Villanova is not in their bracket, I could see Villanova making a run too. Very experienced team. They're always ready to go. They have good leadership. They got Mr. Game Winner from last year returning to the team, so he's always there for big-time buckets. I see North Carolina in the Final Four as well. I think they're one of the deepest teams in the country. They can run bigs at you all day, really wear your defense and your offense down with just their depth. And Justin Jackson's a big-time player. And I think last, you'd have to look out for Kansas. That's another one where they just have potential player of the year, Frank Mason. They got Solomon Graham, that's just a great backcourt. You can't really match up with those two, and they're just a really deep team as well, very well coached.
McClung's bold prediction of the tournament: Kansas loses in the Sweet 16.
All right, so you don't like anything that I have to bring.
No, I love the Butler pick, and I love the Villanova pick. I honestly think it just depends on how the bracket fills out. We have not seen it yet, so I mean, honestly, it just comes down to how the bracket goes this year.
So what's your take on the Final Four?
Well, if I'm being honest, I don't really follow basketball that much, so I don't have a Final Four. I do have a Final One that I'm going to just throw out there. I'm going to go with my Florida Gators. They're going to bring back the Joakim Noah, Lee Humphrey days, and we're going to go back-to-back starting this year. So I have Florida as the national champions.
I like that. I'll keep an eye out for that.
Well, I had UNC, Kansas, UCLA, Gonzaga. I think it's a long shot, but talk about I pick UNC. I'm a Tar Heel born and bred. I live in Raleigh, So it's just what we breathe over there. But Caleb, you said something about Duke and not seeing them, and you said something about Tech. Do you even think that there's a possibility for them?
I don't see Gonzaga. Oh, well, I mean, I mentioned Tech because I think they'll beat Gonzaga. Don't get me wrong. I just don't see Gonzaga getting a lot of competition. They have a really good record, but, I mean, when you play in one of the worst conferences in the country, I mean, what does that show?
That's true. And just with Duke, I don't feel that same type of championship magic with the 2015 team. That 2015 team with Tyus Jones, Jahlil Okafor, Justice Winslow, they just brought it, and I liked the depth that team had as well, in a way, because it didn't really show itself till the tournament when Grayson Allen came in. Was obviously that spark, but he's proven to be a shadow of his former self. So if Grayson Allen can get right, I think they can make a deep run. But he's not really shown me anything thus far.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, and the bracketology will also be interesting to follow. That will do it for this episode of Buzz Time. We hope you've enjoyed, and we will continue to keep you updated on ENH athletics as the seasons progress. I'm Andrew Davis on behalf of these wonderful panelists, and this is Buzz Time.